A human that we shall dub the listener was on their way home alone because they had no one to spend Christmas with. How sad. Just then, they find what appears to be a beautiful, abandoned, historic Victorian mansion. Quite a sight to behold. All of a sudden, he hears a beautiful melody music calling out to him, luring them to go inside. As he does, the door swings open before they could even touch it, as if an invisible butler is letting the guest come into the house. The moment he stepped inside, the mansion appeared to be a lot bigger on the inside than it was the outside, as if the inside is a massive castle and the outside was just an illusionary front. Though what the listener does not know is that this doorway was not simply a door into a castle, but teleporting them into Salexi's castle within their dimension. Just then, suddenly, the listener snapped out of the enchanted melody and sees themselves in this unknown place. Of course, they begin to question why is the inside larger than the outside, and they realize that they are not in a place that is natural. They of course become scared and confused and try to leave through the doorway they came in, but the doorway has now disappeared, gone, as if it was never even there. Then, a beautiful, gorgeous stranger comes walking down the hallway, holding a candelabra lit in their hands as they have one hand behind their back. The stranger greets their guest with a warm welcome with a sneering smile, offering them shelter from the cold winter snow, as if they could even walk out again. The listener questions and then asks, "Where are they?" The stranger then tells them that this is their home, and now it was the listener's new home. The listener of course protested and refused, and they say that they already have a home to get to. The stranger then tilts their head and asks them, do they really want to go back to a home of where no one is coming to? A place with no family, no friends, and he doesn't even have any pets. So he is just all alone. If he were to return home, he returns home to an empty box. All he truly has is just misery and isolation is their only companion. But the stranger offers them something so much better. The listener hangs their head low, depressed in the truth. But of course the stranger then laughs and puts their arm around their shoulder and brings them on a tour through the castle, showing them the dining room where the grand feast awaited them. The moment the listener gazed upon the delicious food in front of them, their stomach growled in hunger. All they've ever been eating for the last 2 months was cheap ramen noodles, pizza, mac and cheese, anything they were lucky to even afford. Sometimes they were even lucky to afford the mac and cheese in the first place. But now, this glorious feast, fit for a king, was offered to them. The stranger gestures the listener to take his seat at the table and enjoy the meal. Wasting no time, the listener plates up a juicy turkey drumstick, mashed potatoes with gravy, a side of seasoned cooked vegetables. Once finished with the dinner, the stranger then offers them served dessert, a magnificent red velvet cake with vanilla cream cheese frosting. The listener ate these 2 slices of cake before they were finally full and felt satisfied that their hunger was gone. The stranger asks the listener if they enjoyed their feast. He tells them that they most certainly did, but now they're feeling exhausted as a yawn escapes from their mouth. The stranger helps the listener on their feet and guides them to the guest's bedroom for where they could rest for the night. They both reach the bedroom. The listener's eyes were moved to tears. This bedroom was far more beautiful, larger, and more lavish than the one little hovel they had back at home. The bed had an alluring scent to it that could lull anyone to sleep. The sheets so comfortable and silky soft, they couldn't help but immediately fall asleep as they lie down into it, sinking into it almost. The stranger leaves the listener alone to rest, telling them that they will be back in the morning to wake them up for breakfast. The listener slowly wakes up, but they were no longer in the bed. They were now in grass, a tall, grassy field. They rise and look up and see a starry night sky. It is caked in an aurora borealis, but instead of the beautiful, vibrant colors that you normally see, it's almost eerie, unnatural, beautiful in an ominous kind of way, but still unnatural. They look around, and then they see them. The stranger, now wearing a sexy, lavish outfit, with all their skin laid bare and revealed. The listener was about to protest, demanding to know where they are this time, but then the stranger takes one finger and puts it over their lips and tells them to silence themselves. They then lay them down slowly back into the grass as they take those thick, wide hips of theirs and sit down upon their lap as it makes a noticeable plap. Without even saying a word, they begin to lean in and kiss them, the listener shocked, but not refusing it. Of course, the stranger begins to slowly unbutton them as they eventually partake in such euphoric lust. The listener's eyes roll back into their head. They feel themselves fading away, but not like they're falling asleep, more like their life is being sucked from their body. Euphoria, surrender, seduction takes over their mind, and all their senses begin to leave them, as if they've already surrendered themselves fully to the stranger they barely know. After all, this stranger was treating them better than anyone else ever was. The scene pans out back to the Gothic castle, where the stranger sits down in a chair, licking their lips and fingers as if they just had a lovely meal. They wipe their lips with a handkerchief, all prim and proper. However, they were not at a dining table. No, they were in the bedroom where they brought the listener. The scene pans over to the bed where the listener was, and their body was most certainly there, but now it was all gray, dried up, shriveled like a raisin, anemic in size. It appears that this stranger decided to eat their soul, and now they reside deep inside of them in the false paradise universe they have created for all their victims. Deep within the stranger, in this false paradise, upon that grassy field, the listener is feeling such intense sensation as their eyes roll back into their head as the both of them fornicate in ways that they would never even realize. It was like pure bliss. Nothing else mattered to them. They had their peace. They had all that they ever wanted. No more did the listener have to worry about scrounging around for scraps, barely surviving, surrounded by crushing, crippling loneliness. They have company. They have ecstasy. They are fed. They are comfortable. And in this, they surrender, unknowing what is even happening to them. As far as they're concerned, this is a glorious dream. But, unbeknownst to them, they have been consumed. The scene pans back to the stranger, standing up from the chair to walk down the hallway. They walk down the hallway as they sneer and giggle to themselves. They know that this was the easiest trick in the book for them. Their mansion was practically like a Venus flytrap, and the listener being their willing fly. The stranger was satisfied, at least for now.